Taylor from Mum on the Spectrum joins me to share her experiences of divorce as an autistic woman. Plus, she's got everything she learnt about neurodiverse relationships. Let's go. Welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, an autistic dad with an autistic son. I'm all about helping you raise your level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the autistic community. So if you want to be a part of this amazing community we've built, just subscribe to my YouTube channels, Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, and Orion Kelly podcasts. Now, my friends, it's time to bring on the superstar of the day. From Mum on the Spectrum, Taylor's here to discuss everything there is we need to know about neurodiverse relationships and hopefully not having to go through the same experience she went to of divorce. Taylor's back. Hey, Taylor.
Hi. It's good to see you.
So great to see you. So great to see you. Thank you for chatting.
Of course. I will always jump at the opportunity to collab with you. I really appreciate your work and just getting to talk with you.
Vice versa. I would do it without collabing. I would just do it to talk, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We'll have some. We'll just give the the billions of people watching some ground rules here. The ground rules are: neither of us have done any preparation. There are no questions. There are no notes. This is a purely natural, organic conversation.
That's 100% true.
And I think that will be all you need to know to not go anywhere and to watch this chat, because there is no idea where this could go, where this could lead. But anyway,
right. But that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I like talking with you, though. I feel like you have a very natural flow. Like, it's easy to talk with you. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's good, because other people think it's like me is like talking to Chat GPT. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Nevertheless, so we spoke a couple of years ago. What did we talk about? Did we talk about parenting?
Yeah, we did talk about parenting. Was it a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it was.
I guess a year and a half, probably, yeah.
So I've got a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old. How old are your kids?
7 and 9, almost 10.
I think both of us as content creators realized, not quickly, but eventually realized, this is strange. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in us, not because we talk about autism, but because we're like late diagnosed autistic adults and we have kids. I think it's like, oh, I've stumbled onto something here I didn't think was what I was here for. And yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? We did a parenting talk, and since then, I think a lot of the content that we do has really evolved into just being an adult, diagnosed later in life. Isn't it strange? I never thought that was the reason what I was doing it for, like doing it for my son and all that kind of stuff. Have you found the similar kind of thing, how it's evolved over time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely evolved. And I didn't really know what I was doing when I started. I knew that I wanted to tell my story. And yeah, I think for me, I did want to kind of leave this trail for my kids. I wanted them to have something that they could learn from that I didn't have, and I was just thinking that would be so cool if I could chronicle that and have like a record of it that maybe would help other people too. So yeah, along the way I've just kind of followed the wave that has come with it, and as each new video comes, it's like there's more commentary that helps me kind of better understand myself and then better understand kind of what information is helpful to go out. So yeah, I think it's just constantly evolving. It's been a really interesting adventure.
I didn't realize there were so many people out there that were even remotely interested in watching content, let alone connecting with it as undiagnosed adults. And then it evolved even more to the kind of like the neurodiversity of friendships and relationships. And from my point of view, like my wife's a neuro typical chick. I rely on her for a lot of different things, and that's obviously another one of the things that I find a lot of people want to talk about or comment about is, oh man, like how do you navigate like dating someone or being in a relationship with someone who's not autistic, or actually, to be honest with you, I get more comments probably from chicks who have a neurotypical guy, like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm like, what are you asking me for? I don't know.
I don't know.
And this is I think a really good conversation for us to kind of explore today. And we're autistic. I don't really know what lead up questions or how I'm supposed to say it softly. But what's the deal with you and relationships? Can you explain to me exactly what's your situation? Because I feel like I heard you, I watched you do a video talking about a breakdown. Is that right? That's public, right?
Yeah, the D word. Yeah. This past year, I went through a divorce that was completely unexpected. So we separated last September of, what year is it? September 22. And then the divorce was finalized in April of 23. And it was not anything on my bingo card, not anything that I ever thought would happen to me. But it happened, and I'm kind of, I guess, on the other side of it, so to say, like through the really hard, awful, terrible, messy stuff, and kind of able to catch my breath and rebuild. But it's been a heck of a year.
From my point of view, the first thing I say is I am blown away by genuinely how strong and incredible you as a person are. So I don't know how I can't be like you. You're my hero. You are such a strong, incredible woman. So well done. Because going through I don't know. I can't help you. But presumably it must be one of the hardest things anyone can ever go through, let alone an autistic person. You're in a relationship and then you're not. Like for me, it's almost like an anxiety attack thinking about it. Like, because we are so reliant on structure and routine and safe people and things. Mm-hmm. How can you explain? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, what happened in your mind and your body when you? Because you said it was unexpected. We don't need to talk about things that can offend or upset other people. I'm just talking about from you as a person going through that kind of what you classed as unexpected and obviously life-changing experience. What do you go through? What do you think? What do you feel? Because autistic people must be wondering, how do you even navigate that?
Yeah, you feel everything and you feel nothing, and then it repeats and it's unpredictable. And, I've always been my life has always been carefully planned. I've always had a vision of what I thought, mom with a happy family. Family's always been my number one priority. And so going through this, there were days when, like, behind me, this is just a long hallway that goes from my front door to the back of my house. I would drop the kids off at school and just pace this hallway, and I wouldn't even realize I was doing it. I don't even know how much time passed. And I remember looking at my feet and just thinking, like, whose feet are those? Like, whose feet who do those belong to? And it became like the thing that was hardest for me and is still hardest for me is the implications for my kids. And so processing what it meant for them and what it meant for me because we share custody, it's like 60-40, I'm the 60, to grieve that 40%, it really legitimately felt like my soul was being split in two. And I there's no other words other than I just felt like half of me died. And that lasted for a very long time.
I mean...
Yeah, it's a lot.
Again, it's a lot. But you know what? This is, I swear you have to hear this. You just talking and people being able to watch this and absorb this is more powerful and more important than you will ever know. So thanks for being brave and open, because I know it's not easy.
Well, I'm glad that you extended the invite, because honestly, I mean, we have this rapport together and I trust you. And when I thought about it and I'm like, well, I trust you to kind of steer this conversation, because it is an important conversation. And I told you beforehand, it's like, even though we didn't prep, I just said, it's hard because I'm a very open, vulnerable person, and I want to share everything, because that's kind of how I've gotten through life. It's like, look where I'm at. You're not alone. We can do this together. But this is difficult because it involves my ex and it involves my kids, and it's like, it's just messy. And so it's hard because I've learned a lifetime of information in the past few years. And it's like, I crave the ability to be able to help others with it. But I also feel a bit muzzled in terms of what how deep I can go with it, but I do like really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and to explore it, because I know it is important to talk about.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's really great just to talk about what, your mind, your body, your perspective, because it doesn't impact anyone else, and it just comes down to sharing something that people can. So, okay, you're an autistic person who's in a marriage that could end, and you have kids. Where else do you go? This is one of the only conversations on the planet, Tay, that where people can actually have some sort of insight. So this is powerful. But I want to talk about. This is a horrific thing to think about, like losing a part of you dying. Losing the ability just to have your kids all times. I don't even know how to process that. So can you explain what we're thinking as an autistic person, what we're feeling with regards to? Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I should just grin and bear it. Maybe I should, this, is it worth doing this to me, to the kids? You must go through these kind of soul searching conversations. So how did that play out for you in that situation when it dawned on you what you had to lose, what you had to gain, and all the different in between?
Well, I'm lucky that I had a tremendous support system. I have an incredible psychologist who's been with me for years now. I started seeing them right after I was diagnosed, and the clarity that I've been able to get from my time with them in terms of developing my sense of self and the importance of boundaries and respecting myself has just been invaluable. And my family really came to my side and have been there for me every step of the way. My best friend, I lost a lot of friends along the way, and we can talk about that too. But, I think I had to kind of judge the losses versus what I would gain. And it became clear after so much intention and so much work that to stay in the relationship would cost me my sense of self, and it would cost me sacrificing my boundaries in a way that was making me disappear. And I knew it's really weird because throughout all of this, there was this, even though it was you're right, it's the most awful, terrible thing I can ever imagine going through other than losing a child. And in a small way, I mean, I don't want to take that away from other people who have lost a child, but you're losing them in a sense, like the idea of having them for their entire life, every day of their entire life. But I realized that my kids needed to see me as the full expression of myself. And in a lot of ways, I had masked my way through the marriage, and I had become so small that I kind of didn't know who I was anymore. And to me, at the end of the day, that was worth risking everything for, was to give my kids. I didn't want them to think that what they were growing up with was the picture of what they like. I didn't want them to model their relationships off of what they were seeing. And so as hard as it was with the support system that I had, and it's just one of those things where everything had led up to this moment where I had developed enough sense of self and enough support strategies to understand how to make that life-altering decision of like, yeah, this is, I'm on board with going through with this separation and divorce, because it just costs too much to stay.
You had to mask your way through your marriage. Did you hear yourself say that? That is an incredible statement to say. Two thoughts, and I want you to. Number one, don't we all? That's what the devil's advocate says to you. And number two, what does that mean? What does that feel like? Masking your way through a marriage.
I think for me, I was kind of thinking about this before. I don't think I can talk about it without also bringing up how the religion that I was raised with. So I was raised very conservative, Christian, evangelical, and kind of the model that women were given is to be more forgiving, be more compassionate, like be more self-sacrificing. And so, I should also preface this by saying my ex and I, we started dating when I was 16, and we dated for 4 years, and we were married for almost 13. So we were together for 17 years. And this was really the only relationship that I had ever known. and I had not really seen or experienced anything outside of this. And so as a young girl, as a teenager, when problems started arising, like my instinct was to forgive more, to, push myself down and like push the anger down, push the frustration down, because that was more self-sacrificing and worthy, in terms of what I had been taught. And so I think I just kind of got used to this pattern of when I was, and we can talk about anger too, because women are a huge thing I've learned. Like women are socially, it's not as socially appropriate for women to share anger. And anger turns into so many other things. For me, it's sadness. And that took me a long time to recognize. Instead of becoming angry, I would become sad, because that's a more socially appropriate response. And so just years of anger, because I had lost my voice and I had forgotten how to actually vocalize what I want and need without apologizing. And that, I think, for me is what it looked like to lose myself, was to stop using my voice to communicate. Like I was downplaying my intuition and talking myself out of what I knew felt right to me.
What I find really interesting is the toll that everything you've just described takes on someone and took on you over a period of time. I kind of think, okay, so it adds up, but it also led to a diagnosis. Like, it's interesting. There's a lot of things came together, almost like a perfect storm, which really altered your life completely. I mean, we're talking about, a young woman who has been in a relationship and lived a certain way, and just based on everything you've told me about, your life and how you were raised and your relationship and your family, I mean, the toll it took on you, but then also a diagnosis, that must have been way worse than I thought it would have been for you, because it seems like it would just be against the idea of who you were supposed to be as a person to start to think about you and your feelings and yourself and a diagnosis. It all kind of was a bit of a perfect storm in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, everything. I mean, it was the pandemic, my diagnosis, a career change, my marriage falling apart, and I homeschooled my kids, like all at the same time. So being a delayed processor, it's like it's taken me a really long time. The past year or two, there's just been days, weeks where it's like, I can't do anything today, and I try to remind people, like, what you see online, you see one video, like, you don't know how long that took me to make, you don't know how long, it's like behind the scenes, I'm spending a lot of time on the couch or in bed or under my weighted blanket, because the buildup of everything that has happened. And even as we're talking about it now, like, I know I am okay to talk about this, but also just know, like, my body is shaking, like, as we're talking, because it's just a lot. It is a lot. It's a whole lot.
Why, for people watching and listening to you, and it's obviously very brave, you're experiencing a sensation right now talking about this. Why are you shaking? Why do you think you're shaking? Is your mind still unable to understand or properly process, or what are you just angry? Are you like, why are you shaking right now?
I felt a little bit of something when you said angry. I have so much anger to deal with that I haven't known how to adequately express. And that's what I find sometimes where I go when I do talk about this stuff, is that even though I do feel like I've processed a lot of the things in a good, like, healthy way, I just think, this is going to take a really long time for me to work through all of this. It's not like, oh, I'm good now. Like, I'm on the other side of it and everything's better. I mean, in a lot of ways, yes, but our bodies take a long time to heal. And there's also just a lot of energy. It's a very, like, highly charged experience. And so that's, a lot of times my body will know something before my mind does. So my body will, like, show me, oh, this is having an effect on you. And sometimes that's the first clue to me that something is off, like, rather than cognitively understanding. It's like my body is, oh, why am I shaking right now? Like, why am I uncomfortable? Why am I fist clenched? So
I experience shaking a lot. I always have. I hate it. I get cold and shaky and like a cold sweat almost. I think that sometimes I find that it happens in situations where, with other people. Anyway, I know what you mean, but why are you so angry at yourself? I mean, I'm not getting you to tell me why you're angry about other people, but are you angry at yourself?
I'm open to the idea that maybe there's some there that I'm not aware of, but I really don't feel angry at myself. I feel like at every step of the way I've done the very best that I can do with the resources that I have, and I'm honestly like very, very proud of myself for being where I am right now. So as far as I know, I mean, some anger could come up that I haven't dealt with, but I think there's a lot of anger just that my kids have to go through this, that this has to be their life, and that, they are doing really well, and they're great, awesome, resilient kids, but you don't want that for your kids. That's not the life that you picture for them. And so I feel angry about that a lot, that this has to be part of that for them.
Finding relationships, actually, finding friends, finding people that are safe, people you can socialize with in any way as an autistic person is incredibly hard. With regards to like people that are real people in the flesh nearest me, I don't really have any friends, right? I just don't. I'm reliant on my family, I guess. And it's extremely hard for people to make friends. And I don't know this, I'm asking you, but is a divorce more than just divorcing a person? Do you divorce like a life? Like what if do you lose friends? Has this impacted you in not just one person and your kids, but because I know it must be hard for you to know people and find people. And presumably there's lots of people that are affected in this kind of situation. Have you experienced that?
I mean, so many things. I have said multiple times through this process, I cannot believe how difficult it is to separate two lives. And, like I said, we had been together since high school. And so almost 100% of our friends were couple friends. So it's a total life overhaul, blowing up, everything's changing. And you realize a lot of relationships that were kind of ghosts of our relationship. Like there wasn't structure and support there. It was just kind of a familiar, connection. And, one thing that I hope other people can hear is that, one thing that I've learned through all of this is that in a relationship or in any connection or friendship, each of you has your own reality, and that doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong, but I think especially the autistic community, we have to remember that our reality is just as valid as the other person's reality. And so along with that reality comes a narrative that's shared with the people in your life. And so there were two very conflicting narratives that came out of this. As are most divorces, there's two very different stories. I think the other narrative caused a lot of my friendships to kind of fall away. And it's very unfair and very cruel because, at least for me, I don't even feel like there was much of a chance given in some situations to repair any connection that could be there. So yeah, my brain's a little squirrely on that one, but it's just, I can't believe how complicated and messy and entwined two people can be. Like the separating of two people's lives, it's just shards of glass like everywhere.
Do you think if you were neurotypical or still undiagnosed, it would have been different?
I think, it's hard to say, but I think maybe if I was neurotypical, maybe I would have had the ability to have some more like just me friends. Because it's easier. I guess it was easier for me to make couple friends than just my own standalone friends. So yeah, maybe a bit easier, but I'm not totally sure.
As in, like, do you think people chose not you because of that reason? As in deciding to be your diagnosed true self?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said that hasn't been a fear of mine, because like you said, like the culmination of all of this, the timing of all of this has been really interesting. And I have had this fear that people must think that like I'm mentally unwell, because people have this concept of autism, and I'd be lying if I said I'm worried that people are thinking, Scott's got to deal with this crazy wife. That's what I worry the narrative is. And so, yeah, it's been really hard to think about that because, on the other side of it, I'm over here like trying to combat those stereotypes. Like it's, it's just whatever. We don't have to go there right now. But yeah, It's very difficult.
No, but you know what? That is legitimately powerful though, Tay, for people watching. The idea I'm talking about, not the reality. The idea that you could actually think in your mind that people could see you as the crazy wife just because you're autistic. I mean, you can understand people. There would be women just like you that could relate to that, right? And might think they are the crazy wife, or
yeah, and it's something that I still really struggle with, and I still bring up in my therapy sessions, and this might be kind of hard to talk about without blurring lines, but again, I just want to encourage people, like, your reality matters, and you don't have to make another person's reality fit your experience. Being too sensitive is not crazy. Like, your body responds to things for a reason, and your body gives you accurate feedback. And, after a lifetime of downplaying your intuition, it can be hard to kind of allow it to start speaking again and allow it to trust and allow yourself to trust it. But it definitely is worth remembering that, like, you can trust your body, and it's worth taking baby steps to do that and, like, act on your intuition. And then the other thing I would say for a lot of people, I get to talk with a lot of people kind of privately about their own struggles. And I know that a lot of times in autistic relationships, people can promise you a lot of things. People can say a lot of really great things, but it's really, really important in relationships and friendships that the words are backed up by actions. And that's what can help you find your centeredness and groundedness. Like, this person is saying these things, but what's actually happening in reality? What can I actually see that helps me to understand that they're integrating, their intentions with reality? And so that can help you feel more centered and grounded when you realize, look at people's words, look at people's actions. Do they match up? And then trust your intuition. And then really lean into the people that make you feel whole and valued and seen, and lean on them in the hard times, and let them remind you that, you're not crazy and your reality is valid. And it doesn't matter if your reality seems totally different than your partner's or your friends. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's different, and it's worth trusting and respecting those differences.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, Tay, I'm doing my best to talk as little as possible and to give you as much room as possible and to not be my normal, annoying self. Am I doing okay? Are you feeling okay? I hope I am.
Yes, you're a great interviewer, and I don't think that your normal self is annoying, but whatever you're doing, I'm enjoying the conversation to the extent that I can enjoy talking about trauma.
Absolutely. Well, hey, but someone's got to do it, and it's people like you who are brave enough to do it, so well done. And here's what I want to say, right? Okay, so people think they're the crazy wife. I think I'm the horrible husband, yeah? I think I'm the horrible husband. That's just, in my mind, that's the same thing. Because, husbands are supposed to be a certain way, right? Or men are supposed to be a certain way. And, as an autistic person, I just feel crap at every aspect of being a husband and a father. Now, it doesn't mean I actually am in reality bad at those things, but I deny anyone that says I am good at them. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I guess my point is, how it can't be possible that I think that no matter how hard I try or how hard we try, autistic people are always going to feel like that in relationships, presumably in relationships with neurotypical people. But I just wonder, what you've learned, what your thoughts are on that premise that you or I can both have similar situations that, regardless of what we do or try, it's always going to be viewed by others as, it would be so much easier if it was just a normal partner. Do you know what I mean? Is that like, do you understand the experience I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Just how, as an autistic person, we might always just feel like we're the problem, kind of. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, we'll always be kind of comparing ourselves to neurotypical standards and wishing...
In relationships with neurotypical people.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it, Orion, is what you and I are doing is, like, we got to have more conversations about it. We have to have more examples of how this is normal. And, well, I mean, there really is no normal. Like, respecting everybody's differences and understanding that, first of all, the pictures that we're given in movies of relationships is wacky to begin with, right? So the standards that we set for what is actually attainable is really off from the beginning if you look at pop culture and everything. So I think a lot of it is just having more real conversations and more examples of neurodivergent people in literature and film and TV and everything, news, just talking about more experiences, because that's all. It's just like when I talk about running a business with other autistic people, it's like there's all kinds of cookie cutter business models there's a million unending business models for neurotypical people. But when it comes to running a business as an autistic person, there's like, where do you go to find information for how to do that? So the answer isn't that it's impossible. The answer is that there's not enough resources out there and there's a lot more work to do. So yeah, I definitely don't think it's that we're the lesser partner at all. I just think that we haven't seen the examples of how we're not alone in that, and neurotypicals haven't really been shown. I don't know why I'm shaking so bad. Neurotypicals haven't really been given ideas and support to know how to. Okay, huge pause here. Like, I feel like there's so many things that neurotypicals can learn from us to do better in relationships. Like, with the way that we can directly communicate and the way that we can, I don't know. I just think there's a really big give and take. Like, it's not just that we have things that we can learn in order to be more supportive of our partner, but they have things that they can really learn to, first of all, just better understand neurodivergence and realize that their way is not, like, my brain's a little bit all over the place, but like with companies that want to employ neurodivergent people, it's like they're trying to get them up to the neurotypical standard. And it's like, that's just the wrong way to think about it to begin with. Like, they're separate entities that don't need to have the same level that they're trying to attain. So I don't know. My brain's a bit spacey right now on that, but it's going all over the place.
Yeah, but it makes total sense. I think that, this is the classic dilemma. Like when you're in a relationship with someone and, one person is neurotypical, right? One person isn't autistic, for example, and one person is autistic or neurodivergent. There's this dilemma where it's hard to know how much they actually accept the difference, how much they're actually prepared to accept the difference and to, assist you and empower you. And how much they just say they are, and then are you having situations where it's like we've been through this, like, why I'm acting like this or that, like, why do we have to start at the start every time? And then there's the dilemma there on who's responsible here, and I guess that's the tricky part of relationships for autistic people, and certainly, but see, the thing is, Tay, I don't have an opinion. Like, some people are like really strong that autistic people should date autistic people or whatever. I don't have an opinion either way. Like, because I don't like what. So you honestly think we are any better with regards to understanding other people and giving them what they want? Like, in the end, it takes an actual buy-in to do that. And I think that's probably one of the big challenges for autistic people, having a partner who loves them, but seemingly isn't actually properly accepting, properly putting into practice the things or understanding it. And you feel like every time you're starting at the start again.
Yeah, and I think, it's kind of what I was saying earlier, like, you feel it. Your partner can say the right things, and your partner can cognitively, show that they understand the principles of how to support a neurodivergent person, but like, you're gonna feel if that lines up with your actual life. Like, if you're feeling invalidated, if you're feeling unseen, if you're feeling unmet, like, those are real feelings, and that's not anything that you have to talk yourself out of or gaslight yourself that you're too much or too sensitive. It's like, those are real experiences, and they're deserving of being explored. And so again, like, trusting your intuition that if you're not feeling met and seen by your partner, then you're not being met and seen by your partner. In a healthy friendship and a healthy relationship, you're going to express your needs, and you're going to see them take steps towards repairing anything that they can do, like, to help you feel more met. And so again, I think the bottom line there is trusting your intuition and listening. Just, when you're being met, when you're being seen, and you just have to kind of, are steps being taken? Like, are you seeing progress, or is it the same song and dance every time? And then, you've got to make an empowered choice of what you need in your life to feel like you're moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I was interested in, from your point of view, given that I know you've been through a lot and it's still very fresh and kind of new, but where are you at with what you've learned about what you want, or what works for you, or your future going forward. Like, where are you at in that space? What have you actually learned about you and relationships?
The most empowering thing, I mean, I just know I'm going to be okay now. Like, no matter what happens going forward, I know that I'm going to be okay because I've found my voice, and I've found, I still have a long ways to go, but for the first time in my life, I'm able to identify things that I want and need, and things that feel good and things that don't feel good, and just kind of this playfulness almost with life of like not taking myself too seriously and just exploring and going wherever the wind blows if I want to, or staying home and doing nothing if I want to. There's so much freedom that's come with it, and at the end of the day, I just know, like, I can look back and think like I have my own back, and I know now, like, I'm never going back to downplaying my intuition. I'm never going back to sweeping my needs under the rug or making myself really small to fit in a relationship. And I know what that feels like now. And so going forward, I just feel like, I don't know, just each day, no matter what happens, I feel empowered that I can make a decision today that reflects what I want today. And I don't have to be scared about being in a situation where I feel powerless, because I always have a voice and I always have a say. And I think because I've practiced that in a major way, of using my voice and making huge, just overhaul changes to my life, I've been able to see that in practice, that when I can express with clarity what I want and need, that I'm going to take care of myself, and I know how to take actions that are going to move me forward. So it's just been a tremendous healing journey for me of like, oh, I take care of myself, and I always have, and now I'm giving myself the freedom to like really trust that.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about autistic people and what they can do and what you've learned to help them. Can we just pick your brains a bit for neurotypical partners? Like, let's assume there's an autistic person and a neurotypical partner watching. Can you help them? I mean, from your own insight, like what can? Because let's be honest, like there are a lot of neurotypical partners that don't want a breakup or don't want it to end, but maybe just don't understand or don't see a way out or don't get it. What have you learned, or what can you tell them that they can do, that they can implement, that they can consider to strengthen the relationship?
Ask your partner. Ask your partner what resources are helpful to them. Ask your partner things that make them feel seen and validated. Is there a book that stands out to them that would be meaningful for you to read? Is there a video that meant something to them that you could watch? Follow up, ask questions, get curious about their experiences, and keep it like an open conversation. Just be curious about their experiences. One thing that I try to encourage people is like, when you notice yourself being judgmental, that's a good cue. Like, to me, judgment and curiosity are kind of opposite sides of the same coin. And so when you notice yourself being judgmental towards patterns or whatever it might be, see if you can flip it on its head. Like, how can you approach it with a spirit of curiosity? I'm just trying to rapid fire some stuff. I mean, understand the concept of delayed processing. Let them have space to process things. Be okay with pausing conversations as long as you know you can come back to them and have the conversation later. Know that they're going to need a lot of alone time. And then the other thing I'd say is learn how to emotionally regulate yourself. Like, learn how to emotionally regulate yourself. Learn how to identify when you're feeling strong emotions, and don't depend on your partner to regulate you. I think that's where we get in trouble as autistic people a lot of times, because so many of us are empathic and we can feel what other people are feeling. And so then we try to take care of the other person and regulate for them, when really the only person who can regulate someone's emotions is themselves. And so it's not that we can't be there and be supportive and be with someone as they're going through something hard, but neurotypical partners, y'all have to learn what emotional regulation is, and y'all have to learn how to do the work of soothing yourself, of learning how to self-soothe, so that your autistic partner isn't constantly on high alert. I mean, we're always going to be constantly on high alert, but so we can let our guard down a little bit and trust that you're also learning how to do the emotional work to be able to take care of yourself.
And this is only because I get this in comments. I just wanted to ask this question. I thought it was a bit strange. But do you think that every partner of an autistic person is in effect their glorified support worker? Like,
no.
I get this a lot, right? People say this about my wife. Like, and is that fair? Like, because if you're the partner of an autistic person and you're neurotypical, not autistic, are we expecting them to in effect be our support worker, our support assistant?
You know what? I just am going to take this opportunity to just like talk about myself. Like, I am a damn good partner. Like, I am loyal, I am respectful, I am kind, I am empathic, I'm empathetic, I am self-sacrificing. I love taking care of other people. I love connecting with other people. I love remembering important things. I love being intentional. I am a freaking good partner, and I know who I am, and I know that what I bring to a relationship is awesome, and I'm really proud of that. And so, yeah, I think it's total baloney to even think in other terms. I just think we've got it upside down. I think it's because we don't truly know how to embrace neurodivergence and all of the beauty that comes with that. We're just trying to fit, like I said, to start with, we don't have healthy ideas of relationships that are given to us through the media, and we're trying to cram so many different types of relationships and people into this one idealized and misconceived version of what a relationship is supposed to be. So no, absolutely not. Neurodivergent partners are such assets in a relationship, and definitely do not deserve to be seen as the weaker partner.
Before we go, is there anything bursting inside you that I haven't been able to get out that you wanted to share or say honestly? Because this is it. So if there is, let's hear it.
You know, I just want to underscore again, like, you're not too sensitive. You may have downplayed your intuition for a really long time, but it's time to start trusting that again. It's time to, listen to your body when it says something is off, and to, again, stay curious, ask questions, be gentle with yourself, and, understand there's some delayed processing. Give yourself lots of grace for that, and that you do things in your own time. Yeah, just trust yourself. And the more you can do, like, pursue things that make you come alive. And as you do that, you'll start to learn more of your wants and desires. And even if it's something as simple as, I tell people, take a different route to work one day, like, just go on a whim. It can be very, very small decisions, just little inklings that feel good to you. Start pursuing those things and see what happens when you start awakening to the idea of, like, what feels good to you and what sounds fun. And as you do those things and you start to become more alive, you'll start to see the places in your relationships that need work, the places that are really healthy and thriving, and you'll be able to have a greater capacity to actually, you'll start to develop more clarity about what you actually want and how to move forward. But the bottom line for sure is trust yourself, be gentle with yourself, and know that your experience and your reality are totally valid and they matter.
Well, Tay, I hope you know that you are a strong, brave, incredible woman, and I really appreciate you. That's not a joke. You have to accept it, okay? It's real.
Thank you. I accept it.
Make a joke out of it. It's not a joke. It's real.
Thank
you. I like it still. But anyway.
Okay.
So hey, thank you so much for being so open and honest and having a chat. And I'm so happy to know you and connect with you. And hopefully you can talk again soon.
Yeah, I know I said this on my Instagram, but I have to say it again here while I've got you. But I'll just always forever remember, like, we started our channels. You started just before me. And you had like 4,000 subscribers maybe. I had 1,000 subscribers maybe. And you reached out to me and you're like, hey, you want to do a video with me? Like, I think we'd, have some good stuff to say together. And the fact that you reached out to me, like, that was it for me. I'm like, I can do this. Like, what I'm doing, like, matters. I just felt seen, and it's crazy. I don't want to use crazy. It's wild now to look at both of us and see how this has taken off for both of us and just been able to become something just really incredible. I feel like you're a really huge part of that for me. And so that means a lot. And just thank you for wanting to bring me into the work you're doing. I really respect all and value and appreciate all that you do for the community.
I'm so glad I did. And you're a superstar, and you, I'm in awe of what you do. So thank you. Thanks, Tay.
Happy to be connected with you.
The incredible Taylor from Mum on the Spectrum. Have you checked out her YouTube channel? Go and do it now. Hit that subscribe button. Show us some love and support, my friends, for such an amazingly raw and brave conversation. Again, thank you so much, Tay. We all appreciate your openness. And thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. Until my next video, I really do appreciate your support, and we'll talk soon.